So hi, it's great to be with you again today. I was so excited and couldn't wait to do my daily diary today. I have to tell you that I was just so filled, so heart-filled by the many comments, both public and private, that came to me after yesterday's message, and just to hear your stories and to hear your sharings and your love just really meant so much to me, and I thank you for that wholeheartedly. And I want us to be more and more intimate in our sharing. I really believe that if we each can find our way to be radically honest and completely transparent, authentically transparent and vulnerable, we will illustrate to the world a new way of strength and power. And we'll actually clean up a lot of things that are going on. We'll actually heal this world because we're going to connect heart to heart. And I think rather than building up the walls or wearing the masks that so many people wear or being afraid to show our true selves or our feelings, then, we can really be real. And we can start to understand that every emotion we have is to be celebrated. I cherish every experience that I have. And if I go into tears or if I go into any emotion, I embrace that. I love the fact that I can have emotion. And so share with me, feel with me, but celebrate it with me. Know that it is beautiful, and every moment that you've had of emotion has been as well. So I want to start getting into what led me to the steps that I'm taking in the coming months, in the coming days even, and getting really excited about it. Actually, I have to share that it is this buildup of excitement within me, not that kind of bouncing off the walls kind of excitement that makes you feel crazed or pressured, but this excitement of the unknown and, just the wildness of just following the heart and not really even having to know where it's going to lead or what the outcome's going to be, just really being open to the experience. And in addition to that, I'm terrified. If I stop to think long enough about what I'm about to do, I can't do that because I think that I would say, oh my, can you really do this? And, how are you going to do it? And is anyone going to follow you or watch you or support you or be there for you? There's so many things that could come up that could dissuade me if I really let myself go there. So I let myself feel that terrifying part of it because I know it's there, but I don't go into the mental talk of it. Last year, about this time, I chose to book a trip to Machu Picchu because I knew that there were some huge decisions that I had to make. My whole life has been about letting go, about letting things die away so that new things could be birthed. And my life has also been one where oftentimes I stayed longer than I should have stayed, that I stuck to something for far too long that it ended up being a detriment to me rather than supportive to myself and everyone else. And I've realized that when we do that, when we stay too long, we actually become the cog in the wheel that kind of holds everything up to where nothing moves. And not only does our life not move, but we hold up other people's progress. We keep them from making powerful choices or moving into the lessons they need to learn because we're kind of stuck ourselves. So we get everyone else that is with us stuck at the same time. And I tended to do that because I thought I was helping. I thought I was being loving and supportive by staying around, and realized that sometimes the choice is to go. And in that way, it may put some people into a frenzy. It may make them have to face some things, but it gets them moving. And it is another way of loving. Loving can have many different forms. And as long as we're honoring with the heart and with the intention, then our choices are okay. And we can have gratitude for ourselves for making the tough choices. So last year, I knew that some things were wanting to end, and I needed to get clear. I booked this trip to go to Machu Picchu, and I had decided to do it in silence. A great part of me knew that my 18-year marriage, the semi-arranged marriage, was over, and this was a marriage that had tremendous love in it, tremendous respect and care for one another, but in that we had both grown tremendously, and there had been a lot of pain and dysfunction and things that we had to move through. Each one of us had to move through to grow, and I knew that we were at a point where we were no longer growing together. So I had to make that decision, and I had never had the courage in the past to leave because I didn't want to disappoint my parents or the culture or the Indian community. We were the first Indian in the Southeast to have been married in about 30 years at that time, and so we had people show up from 3 different states to attend our wedding 18 years ago, to show their kids, what this Indian marriage would look like. And we were kind of the example, and now I was about to be a different kind of example and wasn't sure how people were going to take that. The other step that I was being asked to take was to stop 1111 magazine, and that just confused me, because why would I be given this gift, downloaded with it, and given the themes every September for the whole year, or downloaded with these powerful divine intentions that are in every issue, and now it just stopped, all of a sudden just stopped. And I knew that it had to stop, but I wasn't ready to let go of it, and I needed the clarity. So I decided to book that trip for June and do 11 days in silence. And it was profound, because I also wanted a divine lover and beloved experience, a sacred union with my divine creator. And I prayed and intended to have that experience, and I did. I had a most profound experience, more profound than I could have even dreamed, and it was beautiful. But when I came out of it, I did realize, yes, I have to leave this marriage. I cannot grow any longer in it. It is now time to allow myself to spread my wings in a new way. And even though I didn't know what that was going to look like or what it was going to entail, I had to be willing to step outside of that, regardless of what anyone else thought. And what was interesting was a lot of people, as they found out, would say to me, I'm so sorry, or is there nothing you can do, or, what about the kids? It's so terrible for the kids. And I started really thinking about that. Look at how twisted we are, that we are so ingrained, that we are kind of manipulated into staying in things because society feels that's the way it should be. And in my mind, it was like, my choice to leave doesn't mean that the love leaves. It doesn't mean that anything really changes. I still adore my husband. He still adores me. We still have a great connection. We can still be parents to my children. But what it says to each of us is that I honor you. I honor your soul to move now in another direction so that you can grow and find the next step for your own personal growth and advancement. And in addition, I was showing my kids that you can still love and honor, and you can also move on if that's what your soul really desires. And so I knew that that was a step where I didn't want to pass on the same kind of binding strings and ties that had been passed on to me in regard to culture or society or belief system to my children. I wanted to teach them that there's a new way, and that each of our worlds is dictated by what we will be willing to give ourselves. And so that was very powerful. The second thing that I became clear on when I got back from Machu Picchu was that, yes, the magazine had to stop, and I did. I stopped it as of that July-August issue. And that was closing the door on something that I had become known for. And it's hard to let go of an identity, especially when people start to celebrate it and they recognize you for it, and then all of a sudden you don't know who you are because everything that you were is now gone. It's again a blank slate. And that's where I was. And so I stopped. And when I stopped and gave myself that time, the last few lessons that I needed came, one of which was understanding that I needed to have the space for the next part of me to birth, and that I needed to get clear on what I really wanted in my life now. And I chose a few words. I chose timelessness, boundlessness, and ecstasy as what I wanted to experience. And I really asked the universe to give me connection beyond what I had now, something that went deeper and more intimate. I asked the universe to bring me people that I could feel like were sacred partners with me in terms of traveling this journey, in terms of supporting and loving and being kind. And I started to attract those kinds of relationships that are really supportive. And I had never had that before in my life. And it's been an amazing experience. But it also opened me up to listen to some other big things that were going to change. Things that the universe was going to ask me that were so completely out of my comfort zone. So terrifyingly different than who I was to be. And I remember that moment in November when I was sitting in meditation and the universe guided me to go into spiritual comedy. I'm serious. Yes, I am a serious person. I don't know anything about being funny. I've never been funny a day in my life. I don't even think I have a funny bone. And the universe was asking me to be a comedian? Come on, what was it thinking? I mean, I know the universe has a sense of humor, and maybe that's what it was trying to pass on to me, but who was I to try to find a sense of humor? And who was going to find me funny? And what else was the universe going to ask of me? But you know what? I said yes. And when I said yes, oh my goodness, did the floodgates open of what the universe wanted me to do. And I'll just have to share that bit by bit because it's a lot to take in. So I want you to know that wherever you are, if you're being asked to move into the unknown, if you're being asked to let go of things that are your identity, let go. Let's let go of the strings, the bindings, the identities, and let's see what can birth anew. And let's do it together. Let's walk together. And as I share my journey with you, I invite you to share yours with me. I invite you to take the same steps. I invite you to walk with courage into the unknown with me and be open-armed, fully embracing the abundance that is not just in front of us, but the abundance that has been behind us all along. When we look back on the landscape of our lives and who we were and what we went through, let's look at it with the eyes of gratitude so that all of the wounds and pain and stories and circumstances can now morph into a beautiful landscape that is behind us rather than the one that we use to define who we are. And let's leap from there. So tomorrow I'm going to share with you what was being asked of me as I said yes to the comedy. And it was way more than I ever even dreamed, far more than I even knew to be capable of. And yes, it means losing my mind. And I'm ready to lose that too. So until tomorrow, I wish you love. I say thank you for every single comment, private and public. I say let's live this life with complete transparency and uninhibited natures. And let's go boldly where we've never gone before. In love, of love, and with love. I'm Simran. Be well.